To be called one of the greatest minds to exist on the face of the earth since the days of Einstein is a pretty glamorous detail to have on your resume at the end of your day. On that level of respectability, your ideas are often put into the limelight and shown in everyday media. Um, Appearing on shows such as modern day hits like The Simpsons or Big Bang Theory, Stephen Hawking excuse me, has managed to make a well-rounded contribution to society as a whole. From cracking jokes with Sheldon on the show and to challenging theories on black holes, Hawking surely has beat his physical barriers and then excelled intellectually. Hawking was able to contribute strongly to the areas of the origins of the universe, theories of radiation emitting from black holes and singularities that hold the black holes together, and helped build the understanding of general relativity, which in short summary summarizes the mixing of space and time and how matter is distributed between the planes. To show how he became a well respected physicist in the public eye, I will cover how Hawking academically went from being an average student to a pretty well rounded one, spectacular one, if that. His steps into popularity with his published works, and lastly, his achievements in his last years before his death. So, he was born January 8th, 1942, in Oxford, England, and growing up, he had a very, I'd say, unstable childhood just because of his parents, and one, with the World War going on, it was very hard to find a stable place to be. But his father, because of his job, was moving around a lot, and an article from February 2022 it stated that his father was going through the issues to find job stability in the situation given the World War, and it was moved around a lot. And then finally, after settling down, he attended Albans High School, and he was a very average student there, not horrible, not standing out a whole lot, but eventually throughout high school, he's able to receive scholarships because from his father's alma mater at Oxford, and where he would go in on studying math. But he would eventually leave. He would switch to physics halfway through, and really he was just bored of college. That's really the main reason he wrapped it up so quickly. He just didn't enjoy it that much, and so post graduation, he would go back to observation style learning. He would study sunspots, where he just hit a wall, didn't enjoy it that much, and so eventually he's like, I would switch it up. He would go from that observational style of learning to a more theorized preference. And so at that point, began studying with more popular astronaut astronomicists at the time. And then really his turning point in his learning path was attending a lecture on space-time singularities, which is really the center of a black hole, where physics broke down and it recaptured attention on that area of study. Going on, he would begin to shock the community with his own discoveries on theorizations. Really, the first one was when he broke the news flash of how a black hole works. And then in 1942, he shot down Einstein's idea that nothing could escape the pull of a black hole, and he called it Hawking radiation, which, according to the news source CBC, is described as particles such as photons near the point of no return could result in particles being ejected from the black hole. And really, he did not even believe it himself. The idea came from an argument with a student, which he was so determined to prove wrong that he realized mid-argument this is how it works. Going in, he had no idea of, the facts about it, but the more he worked on it, the more he realized, okay, in the argument that this is, my apologies, video cut out for whatever reason, but moving on, he realized in the argument that this is actually how things work. And then, from that point on, he began to study more into the origins of the universe, and in the 1970 CBC article, it stated that with Roger Penrose suggested the universe began with a singularity, a location where space and time are indistinguishable. It's as if it were a black hole, it went in reverse. The research supported the theory with the universe began with the Big Bang, and that was a big turning point because Einstein had, at that point, reached that hypothesis. Um, Later accomplishments and events in his career, really he came to the idea of the information paradox, and it was published October 22nd, 2018 on webforum.org. Stated that the new research explains how at least some information can be preserved once a black hole disappears, As an object enters a black hole, the temperature increases and raises the level of entropy. And it's a measure of an object's internal disorder, and in that, like, it stores information, like not like very like for us English information, but as in just the how based really he was trying to find information on how the origins of the universe occur, because if the black hole had been around for that long, it would give him that information. And so really it's more to go on to more explain it. So it was a theory that no information in the universe can be lost due to entropy. It's literally just a layer of protons like around the black hole that hold on to the entropy and store that information for all time, really, until the black hole eventually radiates its entire mass away. And so, and then he'd eventually, towards the back end of his career, he'd go back to look into some of his older theories. From an article, Extreme Tech, on January 27, 2014, exactly 40 years after famed theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking brought event horizons and black holes into the public eye. He is now claiming that black holes don't actually exist, which is a very, controversial statement after all the years of saying they do. Instead of an all-consuming event horizons and black holes, which nothing can escape from, Hawking now proposes that there are apparent horizons which suck in matter and energy, but only temporarily before eventually reaching them out. And so, really, he wasn't like completely debunking his idea. It was more so changing it up a little bit. So, really, when he says it gets spit out somewhere, that more so introduces the theory of white holes, which is a completely different discussion. But really, it's very controversial that he turned back on all of his study over the years. And basically, he's just saying that information must be kept in the black hole, the entropy, it must stay there for order, like the laws of physics to stay consistent. Um, he just has no idea how the original ones like keep that information. So, really, Hawkins was able to contribute greatly to the world of physics and the theories of black holes and the origins of the universe, especially after his peaking interest back in that lecture he walked into. Although never winning a Nobel Prize for his works, he contributed greatly to the science community. So, when you next hear of his of the next big breakthrough in the physics community, make sure you realize that some of the achievements came from the works of Hawkins.